cares? Don't believe anything they have to say. That's where I'm at with my political world anymore. I don't know who to trust or believe. My frustration level is through the roof when it comes to politics. I was telling my wife earlier today, I'm just kind of over the bullshit. Trying to find the true story of anything that goes on in the world of politics is nearly impossible. And it's become so performative that it's quite frankly boring at this point in time. I have more fun talking about pickleball and talking about stuff like that has nothing to do with politics. I had more fun today debating whether or not that new movie Sinners is a movie about race or just a vampire movie. Because I've heard from two people say, oh, it's a movie about race. And it's kind of a, I don't want to give too much of it away. And then I had a buddy of mine who's really mad. He's like, I just thought it was a vampire movie. I'm like, I don't know. But that was more entertaining than the world of politics. So over the weekend, the debate about the Judge Dugan. Whoa, she was arrested in Milwaukee. And what does it mean? Is this the end of the world? Is this it? Is this all the stuff? It's the constitutional crisis and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Here's what I do know. I can't trust anybody on either side anymore. And you shouldn't. I've always said that. I want to give everybody some benefit of the doubt, but I can't. I can't anymore because nobody's serious about what's going on. It's all performative, and it is frustrating as hell. And this is a perfect example of the insanity that we see in modern politics. Trump's 100 days is tomorrow. Oh my God. Holy God. He's got the lowest of all time. I could have told you he was going to have the lowest of all time. Should that have been a shock to anybody? What do you think he was going to have? The highest of all time? Well, it's because he sucked. No, it's because that's where we are. Very few people are going to get anywhere over close to 50. And the reality of today's world, 35 to 40% live on either side, right? So let's just say it's 40%. 20% live in the middle as far as whether or not they're paying attention and care about, good 100 days. People care about the paychecks. They don't care. You could solve every problem in the world, but you could get the economy wrong and you're screwed. You could, on the other hand, screw everything else up, but get the economy right. People are like, we're going to give you another chance. But at this moment in time, it's a battle of who do you believe when it comes to a thing like immigration and whether or not this judge did it. Is she a hero? Is she a hero? This is David Brooks of the New York Times. Used to be a respectable place. Now tends to be left-leaning. I think you understand that. He can't decide, is she a hero?
Well, obviously, they're trying to send
break a law?
A note of intimidation, not only to her, but to all judges and maybe to all Americans. But I don't yet know the specific details of this case, whether she escorted the guy out the jury door or whether she's let him. So that's all murky. I don't want to comment on this specific case. But especially on the issue of immigration, there are a lot of people who are appalled by what the administration is doing. And there will be times for civil disobedience. And to me, let's say she did escort this guy out the door. If federal enforcement agencies come to your courtroom and you help a guy escape, that is two things. One, it strikes me as maybe something illegal, but it also strikes me as something heroic. And in times of trouble, then people are sometimes called to do civil disobedience. And in my view, when people do civil disobedience, they have to pay the price. That's part of the heroism of it, frankly. And so you can both think that she shouldn't have legally done this, and that morally protecting somebody against, or maybe not even in this case, but in other cases, frankly, a predatory enforcement agency.
It is, that's where we are. It could be both heroic and illegal. What? Look, I don't know what happened. If I'm to believe what the administration says, she, for days, have been telling people via signs and stuff posted around, if you feel uncomfortable coming to court, let me know. We can do a call by Zoom. For days, there's been this, debate about it inside of this courtroom, of her not wanting any any ICE agency people inside of there. You're not here to arrest people. This is it. So I have no idea because I don't know who to believe, which is a sad thing. I mean, you should always be a little bit skeptical and do your own homework, but I don't know who to believe. This is Judge Napolitano, who is on, by the way, Newsmax, talking about this on Newsmax. So right-leaning Judge Napolitano on Newsmax, what he thinks of said case.
And both sides. He did run away, and they did have to chase him. And the reason he ran away is because he didn't go out the doorway to the courtroom from which he entered, on the other side of which they were waiting for him. He went out another way.
But how did he know that? They're alleging that the judge told him how to get out.
Well, they'd have to have some proof
Right.
For that. I don't know that this fellow speaks English, but I think they overreached by arresting her. If there's an issue in a white-collar case with a public official, like there was here in New York with Mayor Adams, you don't stop him on the street and put handcuffs on him. You say to his lawyer, we need to talk to you about whether or not you will voluntarily surrender because we're about to charge you with a crime. But because they're on a bit of a jihad against judges, they decided to make an example out of this. I think this is the wrong case out of which to make an example. I think she has immunity. She can decide where a person leaves her courtroom from and what she says to that person, and she can't be prosecuted for it. But we'll see. This will be resolved in a federal court. They persuaded I read the affidavit that the FBI agent submitted to the magistrate, which justified the arrest warrant for her. There never was an arrest warrant for this fellow, but there obviously was an arrest warrant for her, and they believe they have enough evidence with which to convict her. And understand both.
So I'm going to tell you guys this right now. That's not what I was being told by the administration. They had this warrant. He had an order to be removed. He had been here and he was deported at one time. And now they've got, I don't know who to believe anymore. I don't believe this administration and a lot of things they say. And I don't believe the media because of their disdain for Trump and a lot of what they say. And that leaves people like you and I who are exhausted having to do too much effing. For the kids, I didn't say bad words. The cross back there. Effing research. Too much. Too much where we have to go and we have to hunt and we have to try to find stuff and put it all together and what's true, what's not true. What's the administration say today compared to tomorrow? I have no idea. What's the media say? What do they leave out? Oh, I have no idea. I don't know. And that's frustrating. It is. It is absolutely, quite frankly, it pisses me off. Should piss all of us off. I'm a grown-ass man. You could tell me the truth. If I believe in whatever it is I believe, my politics, my belief system, if I believe in it enough and I'm too scared to see facts and data and learn the actual story, then whatever I have is flimsy that I believe in. But everybody wants to paint the picture, and so much of it's performative. And by the way, this judge was just fine being taken out in handcuffs. Just fine. Right? Because, well, it's great for her, right? They're chanting, they're singing, all of those things. And it is frustrating. The opportunity one of the reasons Trump's in there is because of the border, deportations. By the way, his deportations are well behind Biden. What? Yeah, well behind Biden. Of course, it's also Biden never really deported anybody. And if he did, nobody really threw a fit about it. That's the other part of this. And the other part of the media side, which is I care about actions, right? Oh, he's an asshole. I don't care. I don't hang out with him. I just want to know you're going to do your job. That's all I care about. Can you do your job? Can you execute whatever you've been hired to do? That's it. If you can, great. How many people, and many of you may be watching this over the next day or two or even now, have worked with people who are just the salt of the earth, good people, but they're morons and they couldn't get anything done. And people you work with who are like, they're assholes, but you know what? They get their job done. All I care about is actions. All the other stuff is just noise. So it's hard to believe so much because everything is performative. Everything. And in a time when I'm kind of over the performative, I sit here and I get frustrated as hell. I mean, I spend more time. People ask me why I get up so damn early. Well, because I'm going to spend another 4 hours double checking, cross checking, trying to figure out what this says and that says. Is this right? Well, hold on here. They left something here. Because again, omission to me is as bad as telling me bullshit. So I just want the truth. Porcupine says, Chad Benson, the all-time fence setter. No, I want the truth. Here's the thing. Give me the truth, and you've got me. Whatever issue. I'm not going to, by the way, I just don't pick one side for everything. Give me the truth, and you've got me. But lie to me and continue to do it and tell me it's for my own good. No, that shit ain't happening. That shit ain't happening. Too many people out there that live in the world of the left and right cult, and they'll jump off bridges and buildings and drink all the Kool-Aid in the world. That shit ain't me. That's not most people. I got stuff going on. I want Trump to succeed. I like a lot of his actions, but at the same time, I'm not always a fan of the way that stuff gets handled, and I'm not a fan of being lied to. I'm not. If you have done something and you tell us it's this, this, and this, only to find out you knew it wasn't this, this, and this, but you went out and told everybody that pisses me off. Should piss you off. A lot of other people, you don't give a shit. You're like, lie to me all day. I just really like you. You're a swell person. That's not me. It's not. Like I said, I'd rather at times sit down and talk about pickleball. Watched some pickleball this weekend, enjoyed it. Played some golf, had a good time, hung out with my family. It's great. Performative, politics, I don't need it. Case in point, they're already talking about impeaching him. Why? It's good for business. This guy, I didn't even know this guy was real. I'm not a backpedaling apologist. I like that. What am I apologizing for? Tell me. I don't have to pick one side for anything. For everything. Ask me a question. Are you pro-choice? I am. I said it. What? Up until 12 weeks. Am I about illegal immigration? I'm absolutely 100% behind stopping it. Period. Case closed. End of story. We can go on and on. I will give it. Here's the problem, though. When you give your side to certain things, if it's not in the tribal world that we live in, and you probably know this, Porcupine Smith, great name, by the way. I hope you have a porcupine. When you have this tribal world that you live in, so if you choose one side and you're like, I don't really believe in that wholeheartedly, you're afraid to say anything. Well, I don't want to get kicked out of the tribe. I don't want to get kicked out of this. I don't want to get kicked out. No. You tell me something and I'll give you my thoughts on it, my opinions on it, based on facts and data, not based on red, blue, right, left, Trump, not Trump. Here's some performative. That's a great name, by the way. That is a great name, Porcupine Smith. Best name ever. You, sir, are awesome. Porcupine Smith, greatest name.
This is Congressman Shari Canada. Donald Trump has already done real damage to our democracy.
By the way, I just want to say, I think we all realize, I didn't know this was a real guy. I thought this was maybe something else. I just, for a second, honest to God, I thought, this can't be real. This is like Saturday Night Live, right? No, they're not in session.
Unanimous 9-0 Supreme Court ruling. That has to be the final straw. It's time we impeach Donald J. Trump. The court said the wrongfully deported Kilmer Garcia must be allowed to return and receive due process. Trump ignored it. He ignored the Constitution. He ignored the very checks and balances that keep our democracy intact. This isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a dangerous, deliberate pattern. That's why today, I introduced a resolution to impeach Donald J. Trump, outlining 7 articles of impeachment.
Wow, that is spectacular. 7 articles of impeachment. And it's not a Saturday Night Live skit. I thought it was. Great way to get your name out there. It's ridiculous. Not going to impeach him. It's a dumbass thing. It is. It's a dumbass thing. And people are going to go out there and they're going to get their press for stuff like this. And I just sit there and laugh. Well, he's not, you got to understand something. The 9, it wasn't, know what the 9-0 was about. It was not what you think. And he wasn't deported illegally. He was sent to the wrong place because he shouldn't have been sent to El Salvador, but he wasn't deported as in he shouldn't have been deported at all. It's like the conversation, here's a perfect thing from the left, over these kids are being deported. They're American citizens. No, they're not. They're American citizens, but they're not being deported. It's a custody battle. She wants to take the kids with him. Okay. I'm not sitting here I'm not going to argue that. That's what you want to do. They could stay. There's going to be battles like this. This is the problem with not finding the real stories and having to search and search, because whether it's omission or I just boldface tell you a lie, it sucks. I don't have a Komodo dragon, man. I wish I did. It's an Asian water monitor. Pretty awesome. Porcupine Smith again. He says, I'm a nice guy, but I don't support Trump enough. I support Trump. I want him to succeed, but I don't want to be lied to. That's what I want. Tell me the truth. Don't backtrack. Don't go in and say it's this, this, and this, and then you go in front of a court and you come out and you tell us all these things, and then you find out that none of the stuff that you said was what you were fighting for on the inside, in the courtroom. Tell me the truth. You should want the truth too. Some people are okay being lied to because we live in a world of affirmation, not information. Nobody wants to know what the actual truth is on something, because if we wrap ourselves up in whatever it is that we believe now, that has become our identity politics. And we don't want to get kicked out of the tribe. So if you're lying to me, as long as you're telling me what I want to believe to be true, I'm fine with that. I don't want that. I want the truth. And both sides are full of shit, and it's boring AF. It is. It is ridiculous. And we should all be frustrated. And we should all actually start saying, you know what? I'm not going to pay attention to your asses anymore. Don't give money. Don't pay attention. Get on with your life. Spend time with your family. Enjoy other things. Because what you're getting now is pantomime. What they always say, politics, that's the entertainment world for ugly people. Yeah, kind of what it feels like. At least you could do is hire actors to play your parts and do it better. Because just like actors, all you're doing is playing make-believe. Coming up, tomorrow we'll have some more fun with different stuff. I got some interesting stories that we're going to get into tomorrow that aren't so political, but have a lot to do with some of the world of politics, but not so much the right or left, which is interesting. Let's talk a little bit about that. We'll have some other fun stuff. You can reach out across all my social media. Remember, 6 to 9 tomorrow. And one of the things we're going to talk about tomorrow is they're looking deeper and deeper into processed foods and realizing, holy shit, that stuff's bad for us. What? I know, right? But it tastes good. It tastes delicious, but it's awful for us. And we recognize how bad it is. And it is bad for us. So we'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow. So 6 to 9 a.m. Pacific, 9 to noon on the East Coast. Follow along. Go to ChadBensonShow.com. Find out where I'm playing in your neighborhood. And if I don't, make sure you grab the podcast. Appreciate that. You guys have a blessed rest of your Monday night. We'll do it again tomorrow, and I'll see you on the radio and probably back